This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Kef. Today on TRS, Game of Thrones just ended last Sunday. Here's our reaction to the first season.
So we are back with TV. We have all, hopefully all of you guys have seen the season finale of the HBO show Game of Thrones.
If not, turn this off.
If not, turn this off, because there's no way to explain any of what happened without spoilers from like 6 episodes ago. Anyway, so Game of Thrones is a new fantasy TV show on HBO. It's written based on these books by George R.R. Martin, which Jeffrey Kanata has been addicted to for many, many moons. And so we finally got to see the fantasy genre done by HBO standards. And now this season is over. We talked about the pilot when the first episodes came out, way back yonder. So Daniel Trachtenberg, yes, I'm going to you first because I know what this guy's going to say.
I'm actually curious what he's going to say in comparison to books. Now,
well,
having seen an entire season, yeah,
What
I
did you think
was
of the season?
lukewarm to not into it, sort of, when we first reviewed it about the first book. Man, do I love this show.
Yeah.
Love. I mean,
It's funny how you were not into it about the same amount that you were not into the book when you read
that's
that much
true.
of the book.
The problem is the writing of the sentences, but the dialogue in the book was always great, and the dialogue in the show is wonderful. A few things I must say. One, it is rare that a show like this is not on my TiVo ever. You know what I mean? Normally the shows that aren't on my TiVo are the fun, like, doesn't take work to watch, you know?
Got it.
So you think you could dance,
I don't know what you mean by
Chef.
not on your
He
TiVo.
means that they build up on his TiVo because he's like, I'm just not in the mood
This
to
show is
watch
not on my
True
TiVo.
Blood.
I literally watch the show Sunday nights. Me and my girlfriend, who likes Twilight, and I mean, she likes wonderful things. She has wonderful taste. I love you. But also,
Twilight.
you never would guess, right? We devour this show together. The things that I love are. First of all, I'm starting to fall in love with the world, with the style of the world. I think it has become very well realized. What I love most about the show, first of all, it feels a lot like a Western. And it capitalized on the same thing that Westerns capitalize on. Is before we have our laws that we have now, and we're hunkered down with modern things and nuances and modern relationships and cell phones and whatever. It's about the things in a Western is, before all those things were officialized, what is just? How do you, when you're making your own laws, how do you be just to someone?
Yeah.
And this show is so amazing at frustrating me at making me hate characters and then delivering justice to them. So like a horror film, you are filled with the anxiety as you would be in a horror movie, and then you get that cathartic, like hitting the slasher over the head with a shovel at the end. This show does that from scene to scene, and there is no other show that I've ever watched where I'm at least frustrated by like one storyline of the show. There's usually one that like is a chore for me to watch. Every time it cuts to a new thing, I'm like, ah. And then it cuts to another thing, I'm like, ah! You know, like,
okay,
wonderful,
all right, so
wonderful.
you're digging it.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Kanata, I'm sure you're going to echo his sentiments and then some, so what do you think?
You know, as geeks, we are often frustrated when things we love are translated into other media because the thing that we love about it is often changed or ruined or even
in the translation.
Or even it just doesn't get there. Even if it's a good translation, it just doesn't get there. The thing that's so wonderful about this show is, as much as I love the books, this show, I've never seen anything so faithful to its source material. There are long sequences that are word for word out of the book, which a lot of times would be a bad thing because it wouldn't really work, or it would seem tedious or overwrought. Not here. To the point where people who have written me on Twitter and stuff and have said, you know, I'm so excited, I want to start reading, but do I start reading with the second book? You could. You could start reading A Clash of Kings right now to start experiencing what happens with the rest of the story and really not be lost because of so much that is faithful and really not left out. There is so little left out in the story, the story beats. That's remarkable, and I love that about it. That there's so many tiny details that they fulfill. I was a little sad to see some of the big battle moments that happened at the end of the first book.
Like what? Oh, the war between.
Yeah, you hear
you hear about them.
You know,
and
there's
you
a
don't see
scene.
them.
Tyrion is about to run into the battle. He gets hit and passes out and wakes up and goes, "Oh, there's a battle." Well, in the book, we see the battle.
Right.
Does he still get hit though?
No.
Oh, he fights in the
Yeah.
book?
Oh, he fights a lot in the book.
Really?
He's a fighter. He's a lover and a
I thought
fighter.
that was pretty badass though when he gets knocked down in the beginning.
The casting of this show is incredible. There are so many perfect choices. I'm a little disappointed with Shay.
Who's Shay?
She's the whore that Tyrion
yeah.
is going to bring to court with him next season.
Yeah.
She doesn't sit right with me. But so many side characters. And the other one that's odd is Beric Dondarrion, which he just happens for a second in one episode. He's going to have a much bigger role later on. But it's like, really, that actor? Oh, okay. Sell me on it. I'm excited. But there are so many, like the Great John and Sir Barristan Selmy and all these wonderful side characters that are so well realized by just perfect choices. I love that they just made this. It's made.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
it's made.
yes. I think that's a sentiment for a lot of people because I'm trying to put my finger on why people like this so much because I find it ultra boring. I just can't get into it. And not only do I find it ultra boring, and there's fun stuff to be had. It's the funny thing to me is I feel like watching this is like reading a book that I'm not really that into. There is a story happening, so there's little pieces of here and there that I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting. But for the most part, I'm just sort of sitting there watching this happen. And I think it might come down to the fact that this is fantasy, unabashed fantasy, written for fantasy lovers, presented in exactly the way they would want to see fantasy presented. So for the people who love these types of books and devour them, this isn't Hollywoodized version of that. This is that. They're literally giving you exactly what you love from that experience in this. So I understand why people really enjoy it. I just can't. There's nothing for me here for the most part. I find it boring.
Are you not excited by the fact that anything can happen to these characters?
Well, the thing that's it's a detriment because the only characters that I actually like in this whole series are now dead, and I don't care about the rest of the people.
Wait.
So for the most
one, I'm trying to think of. Oh, yeah.
So they have basically there are literally like the people that I'm like, okay, I can get. I start to get these little strings of things that I go, that is interesting. I'm excited to see how this. Oh, that person's dead.
What I love about
this is interesting. I'm excited. Oh, that person's dead. And so the people that I don't care about, and there are definitely scenes, and I've told you guys this. There are literally storylines. I mean, you have the exact opposite reaction, which is every storyline is there that you're interested in, and for me, they're whole storylines that I just go boop 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 boop, and it's not because if I watched them, they would interest me.
Well,
I watch a
you
bunch of
know,
them
yeah.
because halfway through the thing, I'm like, I know what this scene is, and it's just I'm. Boop, boop, boop,
The thing that's so amazing about this book series and the TV show is that it starts
I have
out.
two other points too, but go.
Okay, it starts out as a very conventional fantasy storyline where it seems like things are set up in a very conventional way. Like these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Here's our heroes. Let's stick with them. We're gonna see them rise to the top and vanquish their enemies, like Lord of the Rings, like almost any other. They're gonna encounter hardships, but we can pretty much see where, like,
Yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring starts out. You need to get the ring to Mordor.
Right.
That's the story.
Right.
This is not how these books are at all.
Yeah.
As a book, starts as a story about this family, and it becomes a story about this entire world and all these intermingling wars.
And I think that works over 750 pages. I don't think that works in a first season of a show that you want me to watch. For me, and that's why I was sort of like, I get how this would make a book that at the end you're like, how could they do that? But for me, for a series, at the end of the first season, having those things happen, for me, I go, well, then I don't know what I'm supposed to root for. I don't know what I'm supposed to like about this. The other thing I wanted to say, the other 2 points. One, I think the action sequences are just bad. There's yet to be a fight sequence that I actually found interesting in any way. And I know we disagreed with that because one of the big fight scenes at the end where Ned Stark gets stabbed in the leg, that you guys both really liked. I thought it felt so TV. There was like 6 actors, and they were doing
What about
bad
the fight
stage
scene
combat.
in the Eyrie for Tyrion?
I don't know what the Eyrie is.
That's the city on the top of the hill with the hole in the center.
That was okay, but you still get that sort of
Oh
like
yeah, badass!
It was okay. You still get the floppy the like arm that hits and it's sort of like all the swords shake, whereas like you see in like good action movies, they're like solid. I mean, maybe
I don't know. That's
it
like
might
how it
very
would
well
be.
Yeah, but I don't want to see how it would be. I want to see an entertaining fight in an action movie.
I don't know. I think
It's not like I want to see people walk up and shoot someone in the face and then go, "Well, I win because I shot you in the face." I want to see a weird, crazy fight sequence between guns.
I think it goes to show that like you can have a really awesomely choreographed action scene and it doesn't do anything to make you care about the characters, but when you care about the characters, a very mundanely choreographed action scene becomes the most exciting thing you've ever seen.
Now that I can totally agree with because of the fact that I'm not connecting so much with the characters. Now that said, this is a show that I will continue to watch simply because it exists, and that's why I think it's so easy for people to get excited about this show, and why I think if you like fantasy and you're not watching this show, why?
But it's better than just the fantasy show that's on. In
your opinion, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is the height.
And I think in Dan's opinion too.
I think it's the
I don't
height
like
of
fantasy stuff,
Right.
and that's why we had Versus and we had Lord of the Rings. And like, look, Lord of the Rings is not. I mean, especially because I'm watching Game of Thrones now. When Lord of the Rings comes up on thing, and I think back and go, well, Lord of the Rings, it's a lot of like, well, isn't this a big deal? This is a big deal. No. Game of Thrones, there is so much importance about what they're discussing, and it's so primal. Lord of the Rings doesn't have that primal stuff driving the characters. And what I want to make a comment that's very particular to the
book
finale.
might. I don't know. I haven't read the book.
I never
but
read the
feeling
book.
the book probably.
But I'm talking
has
about
more.
Return. We had the movie come up.
Yeah.
But I want to comment based off of the finale. When characters die, what I love about it is that as you're watching a series, you're forming opinions and thinking. You're sort of surmising where things might go based on the characters that exist in your show. So when one of them is taken
that does
away,
make sense.
or a couple of them are taken away, now you're like, now what are they gonna do without that person? That person was protecting the thing, and then when that and there's so many facets that like make it so much more suspenseful and exciting and excruciating.
The challenge for season 2, other than the fact that there are some really big set piece things that happen that I don't know how they're going to film, judging by how they didn't film them in the
We
first
have
one.
dragons. I mean, we saw CG awesome dragon babies.
That to me, I was like, if that's the thing, give me more of that before, because that's something I'm interested in.
I think that's your lost thing that you were upset on Lock and Key.
Very patient writer.
Maybe I'm not a patient viewer.
You're not
'cause that's
sure
literally
if
what it is. I'm like, this is not entertainment for me yet.
The challenge for season 2 is that in the book you have written from what they call a limited first-person narrative, right? So that only that person knows what's going on, and you're going to have all these groups splintered off. And the thing that's so wonderful about this world is that communication doesn't happen instantly, right? So you have people assuming things that aren't necessarily true, and it's going to be, I suspect, difficult for them to convey what people know or what they don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows who is still alive and who knows who's still, and what situations things are happening.
The crows, the birds.
They're pretty
with
instant
messages.
nowadays.
Yeah,
Well, that's all
crows.
too,
E-birds.
but it's
E-birds, amazing. All right, well, anyway,
That's a
that
great
is the
frustration, too. I love that
that is the first season of Game of Thrones. HBO Sundays we'll see in like summer of 2012.
Yeah,
so
it's gotta wait
you
a
can
whole
read
year.
all the books probably by then.
You should.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around for all the outtakes from shooting this lovely week of episodes that we have for you. But first, we want to thank our sponsors, Kef. Today's episode is sponsored by Kef, people. For those of you out there who don't already know, Kef, they have been designing and engineering high-end, innovative loudspeakers in the UK since 1961.
Wow.
Whoa.
These people know speakers. Now,
That's like the beginning of the
they
UK.
have pushed the envelope even further by making a truly thin loudspeaker for the home. We are talking only 1.4 inches thin.
Wow.
The new T-Series from Kef looks incredible.
Whoa.
Sounds amazing. I have a set of these bad boys, and it is mind-boggling.
Whoa.
When we bump the loudspeakers these up, it's ridiculously fun. Kef is actually going to be giving away a set of T-Series speakers every month for the rest of the summer. And these are intense speakers. All you have to do is follow them on Twitter, and you're entered to win. It's seriously that easy. Follow them now at KEF_direct, and you'll be automatically entered to win a T-Series 105 full 5.1 home theater system.
Wow.
The speakers alone cost about $1,500. Wow. So that is a good return on your following investment.
How much does it cost to follow somebody on Twitter?
Less than $1,500. I'm not sure the exact figure. I believe it's 0, but I could be wrong. So if you're on Twitter, why would you not follow them at KEF_direct? Thank you, Kef. Thank you, Kef. And the new T-Series Slim speakers, serious sound. Check them out. And check out The Weeknd, because you're going to have it.
If you want to be like Jake, the guy who made the Manana background, send your background to fans@totallyradshow.com. You can get your artwork on our show.
Yeah, I want this as a shirt so I can wear it around to see Dan and be like, hey, Dan, see ya mañana. Here we go.
Yep. I always feel like I'm squished over here.
Dan, center up on your mark. There we go.
Stinky red dog.
Awesome.
Can you remember that?
Yeah.
I will remember that forever.
Can you remember that? What was it?
Stinky red dog.
All right.
Here we go. Get in there. In the pocket. All right,
He's going. Let him go.
time to be done.
He's going.
Time to be done.
There he goes.
Here we go. You recording? Mañana.
It's getting very mixed
Here we
messages
go.
from you guys.
Exchange.
Okay. You recording? Okay. So we are back with TV. Go ahead.
Today in Rad history. I got it. Don't worry. Today is
Sorry.
Today is June 21st. There you go.
Quad damage.
Oh, that's nice.
Wave. World of Tanks. With your hands.
Hey! Whack!